Guys, let's talk about Disney. All right. So there's some real sus shit going on. Okay. Some really, really suspicious shit. Okay. When it comes to Disney and especially Epic Games. So there was a recent what do you call it? Rumor. There's a couple of rumors actually. We're gonna go over all of them, but there's a couple of rumors that are going on right now. Okay. The first rumor is that Disney is looking to potentially buy Epic Games. All right. That's the first rumor. Whether or not that's true or not, I have no idea. First, I completely threw away the idea of that ever happening because I was like, is that really going to happen? Like, I don't really know, you know? But ever since that was the first rumor, and then ever since that rumor, there are things that have been happening little by little that are making me question everything and say that that might actually potentially happen. So, first and foremost, some of the things that are happening are not even rumors. For example, you have the collaboration of Toy Story and Fortnite. Okay, by itself, that would really not be that big of a deal, right? That would not be that big of a deal. It is what it is. But then you have the rumor that apparently Epic Games is working on an extraction shooter that is similar to Arc Raiders, but it's with Disney characters. That alone made me go, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what exactly is happening here? Why are you making an extraction shooter that's like Arc Raiders, but with Disney characters? What's going on, right? And then now you have Disney delisting their games from Steam. Now, keep in mind, Disney has been delisting their games. They delisted their games before. This is not the first time they've ever done it, okay? But they're starting to do it more rapidly. And we all know that Epic Games loves their exclusivity. Epic Games is playing console game strategies on PC, and then they wonder why they get felted every day. But Epic Games loves their exclusivity. So if Disney was really going to buy Epic Games, or if they were going to merge to some extent, right? Whatever the case may be, or if they were going to have some sort of a deal, it would make sense that Disney would take their games off Steam and put it on Epic Games only. It would make sense, right? Because to my knowledge, whatever Disney games that are on Epic Games have not been delisted yet. Now, here's the thing. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Disney has delisted games before, and they've done so for like licensing reasons and things like that, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something shady going on or some sort of like back end deal with Epic Games going on. But I got to be real with you, man. I'm slowly but surely starting to believe this potential rumor about Disney working a deal with Epic Games, or at least buying Epic Games or something along those lines. I'm really starting to believe this because all these moves that I'm seeing Epic Games make that is somehow revolved around Disney has me looking at this like either you guys spent a fuck ton of money to use these characters or something else is going on, and we just quite don't understand what that is yet. Now, don't get it twisted. Epic Games absolutely could have spent a fuck ton of money. They've done it before, right? And they're going to do it again. That's why they're losing money. That's why they have to fire 1,000 people. But I just think that this is really weird. And I'm starting to really start to paint the picture of a collaboration between these two companies for whatever that reason may be. So if at any point we do get confirmation, I'll tell you this. If we get confirmation of an extraction shooter with Disney characters, if that's real, because I still have a hard time believing that. If that's real, then I think literally anything is on the table. I think at that point, if you see that game get confirmed in November, like they said that was going to happen, if that game gets confirmed, anything is on the table. Literally anything is possible between Disney and Epic Games. And I don't think the room for doubt is there anymore, to be honest with you. I think the room for doubt kind of gets thrown out the window if that actually goes down. So we would have to see what happens. We'd have to see if this deal actually goes through, or if this is, if this game actually gets made. But still, I don't know where I don't know where they're going to get the money to buy Epic Games. I don't even know how much Epic Games would go for. Because again, Epic Games, their store is worth nothing. Just so you guys are aware, their store is worth literally fucking nothing. Their store loses money every year. They only made about 300 some odd million dollars in third-party sales in terms of revenue for the Epic Game Store. They spent almost $700 million in 1 year providing free games for people to take advantage of. So they made 300 some odd million dollars in revenue, not profit. They made 300 some odd million dollars in revenue for third-party sales in a year, and they spent $700 million. Now, obviously, they also made first-party sales with Fortnite and whatnot, which took them to quite a large amount of money. But in terms of third-party sales, they're felt it. They're worth literally nothing, right? So I gotta imagine that Disney would not spend a ton of money for that, but Disney will absolutely have to spend a ton of money for two things. Three things. Fortnite, Rocket League, because Rocket League, believe it or not, actually makes some decent money for Epic Games. Not as much as Fortnite, but still. Fortnite, Rocket League, and Unreal Engine 5. Or Unreal Engine in general. Right? In order for them to own Unreal Engine, and in order for them to own Fortnite, Disney would have to literally take the fucking safe out in order to be able to pay for that. Because those things are worth insane amounts of money. And that is literally the majority of the worth that Epic Games actually has. Everything else is whatever. But those three things, that is what Disney would have to spend the most money on if they wanted to own Epic Games in its entirety. Now, I know people are going to be like, Unreal Engine 5 is trash. I know. I get it. Totally get it. But that doesn't change the fact that Unreal Engine 5 is the engine that is utilized by like 90% of the gaming industry. Both indie and AAA and AA. Unreal Engine 5 is used by the majority of the industry. They have completely captured the industry in that regard, and it doesn't change that. As much as I would like that not to be the case, and trust me, I would absolutely not like that to be the case, especially since I saw how good Crimson Desert runs, and that's not even Unreal Engine. It's still the like go-to engine. So there's no changing that. So I don't know. It would be very interesting because if they owned Fortnite, which is essentially one of the most popular live service games in history, and they also owned the engine that the majority of the gaming industry utilizes, well then shit, man. Disney's gonna own a large portion of the gaming industry. And I don't know if I like that idea. I don't know if I like that idea, brother, because can you imagine if Disney owns Unreal Engine and what that will do for the industry? I mean, the industry already is going downhill. I can only imagine how it would be accelerated if Disney was behind the wheel. Those motherfuckers can't drive, if you catch my drift. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. But like I said, I'm more so waiting to see if this extraction shooter game is real. If this game is real, then we could talk about some theories. We could come up with some ideas. We could kind of theory craft. But if it's not real, then, I don't really know what's going to happen from there. But if it is real, shit, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, we're screwed. Yeah, we're beyond screwed. We're going to have to rely on indie more and more. It's crazy.